Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today for our summer camp in a box. So I'm very excited to have you all here today, and I hope that you've been enjoying these lessons and been having fun at our virtual safety camp so far. So today, we are going to talk all about sticky situations. So do you guys know what a sticky situation is? Does anyone have any guesses? What do you think? Yeah, so a sticky situation is when you are in a situation and maybe you're not quite sure what to do. You might want to do one thing, but maybe you're scared you might hurt someone's feelings or someone might get mad at you. So you think maybe I should do something else. So you're not quite sure what to do. Okay, so that is what we are going to talk about today. And kind of what we've been doing for most of the days, we are going to read a book today. I'm going to read a book to you. We're going to do a little activity, and then at the end, I will show you what your craft is going to look like. So if you want to see what the craft is going to look like, please stay tuned till the end, and I will show you what it's going to look like. So let's get started with our book today. This story that we are going to read is called What If? And it's about a boy named Greg who goes to summer camp, okay? So I'm going to try to show you the pictures as I read. So let's start What If, okay? Greg had never been to an overnight sleepaway camp before, but here he was, a badger for 1 week. According to his counselor, Marty, the Badgers were certain to win the Good Sportsmanship Award, provided they were all good sports. So what do we think good sportsmanship means? What do you think? Yeah, so good sportsmanship means being a team player, being really nice and helpful, being polite to people, helping them out if they need some help. Things like that are all good sportsmanship. Okay, so Greg liked both of his counselors. Marty built a huge campfire every night and got it blazing with only one match. The kids called him matchless. Greg's other counselor was Vince. He could hit long fly balls to center field all day. He was a neat guy. But there were a couple of things about camp that Greg didn't like. For one thing, he wasn't used to eating with so many people at the table, passing bowls of creamed corn and grabbing at hot dogs. And he didn't like getting undressed in front of everybody or taking showers with the other kids either. He hated to lend his soap and towel to Barry, who could never find his own things. But he did it to be a good sport. So remember, we said good sport is helping people out. So even though he didn't like to, he still helped Barry out. Every afternoon, the Badgers went swimming. On Tuesday, Greg put on his swimsuit, but when everyone else went down to the lake with Vince, he stayed behind. He wanted some peace and quiet. He flopped down on his bunk, and it felt good to be alone in the cool, dark tent. "Hey, Greg, are you in there?" It was Marty peeking in and squinting into the darkness. "What are you doing? Why aren't you down at the lake?" "Can't I skip it today, Marty? I just don't feel like swimming," said Greg. "What's wrong? You homesick or something?" Marty asked. "Maybe a little," Greg answered. "I know how that is. Sometimes I get homesick myself up here all summer," said Marty. "You do?" "Sure. I miss eating pizza and watching the games on TV and Teddy." "Who's Teddy?" asked Greg. "Teddy's my dog," answered Marty. "He's my pal. He's a good old guy. He'd love to run around up here." "Well, how come you didn't bring him with you?" "We're not supposed to. It's against the rules. No dogs allowed." Marty sat down on the bunk next to Greg and said, "And you're not supposed to be in here either. You know that, don't you, Greg?" "I guess so." "You can get in trouble if I told anyone. You know that?" Greg nodded. "But I know how you feel. Don't worry, I won't say anything. It's just between us. How's that?" "Okay," answered Greg. "Now how about you do something for me? How about a little game to cheer me up?" "Sure," Greg said. "What do you want to play?" Then Marty did a weird thing. He took off his bathing suit and t-shirt and sat down naked on Greg's bunk. "First, take off your bathing suit. Then I'll show you the rest of the game," said Marty. Greg thought it sounded like a stupid idea, and he shook his head no. So let's take a second and pause and just kind of talk about what we just read. So at first, Marty comes in and he's being really nice and understanding to Greg and saying, "I understand you're homesick, so I'm not going to tell anyone that you didn't go swimming today. It's no big deal." And Greg is like, "Wow, that is so great. Thank you so much." And then Marty says, "Well, because I did that for you, now you have to do something for me." So Marty is asking for something in return for keeping a secret for Greg. Okay, so first of all, is it okay to keep secrets? What do you think? Are secrets good or are secrets bad? Yeah, so secrets are not okay to keep, okay? Now there is a difference between surprises and then secrets. So we're going to talk a little more about secrets and surprises in a second, but know that secrets are not okay to keep, and especially nobody should be asking you for anything in return for keeping a secret. So when Marty said, "I won't tell on you, but you have to do something for me," that is not okay, and Marty should not have been doing that. So let's keep reading and see what happens. So Greg said no, and Marty said, "What are you afraid of?" teased Marty. "I'm not going to hurt you." "Nothing," answered Greg. "I just don't want to, that's all." Marty kept talking quietly. "It's just a game. I'm not going to do anything," he said. "Then why should I take my clothes off?" said Greg, who was starting to feel uncomfortable. "I just want to look at you. Come on, be a good sport." "No," said Greg. He got off his bunk and held on to the top of his trunks. "I guess I'll tell Vince that you skipped out on swimming," said Marty. "I bet he's going to be mad at you." Greg felt trapped. Why was Marty doing this? He thought Marty was his friend. What kind of trick was this anyways? So again, remember when we talked about sticky situations where we're not sure what to do? Greg just said a really important word, that he felt trapped. And that's kind of how you feel in sticky situations. You don't really know what to do, and you feel trapped. You feel like there's no way out. So let's see what Greg decides to do. Greg dashed out of the tent and ran into the woods near the lake. He could see Vince and the Badgers practicing life-saving. He saw Marty go over to Vince and tell him something, and Greg was scared. What were they saying? He could feel his heart pounding and tears coming into his eyes. He was still crying when Vince finally found him. "Where have you been? I sent Marty to look for you," he said. "He found me," said Greg, wiping his face and eyes. "I was just in the tent." "What's wrong? What are you crying about?" Greg didn't know whether to tell Vince about what had happened or not. What if he got in trouble for being a bad sport? But what if Marty tried to trick him like that again? He blurted out the story. "It's about Marty," he said. "He told me to take off all of my clothes. He said it was a game. He said I'd get in trouble if I didn't do what he said." "Are you sure Marty did that?" Vince asked. So again, I just want to take a second and pause. We were talking about good sportsmanship before. And Greg had said, he was kind of scared to tell on Marty because he still wanted to win the good sportsmanship award. So what do you think? Would he still win that award if he told someone what happened? Absolutely, yes. If you're ever uncomfortable, it's okay to tell. And remember, we talked about we shouldn't be keeping secrets at all, that that's not okay. So that is totally fine that he told someone, and that is still going to make him a good sport. So that doesn't change anything. All right, let's keep reading. Almost done. Greg nodded. "Sometimes people do things that are hard to understand," Vince explained. "I'll talk to him and straighten this out, Greg." Greg was still worried. He told Vince, "I don't want Marty to get in trouble." "Listen, Greg, no one should trick you into playing a game that hurts your feelings or a game that you don't like. You did the right thing to tell me. And I don't want you to worry about it. That's my job, to help out, to solve problems. Okay," said Vince. He took Greg's hand and waded a few feet into the lake. "What's going to happen to Marty?" Greg asked. "I don't know yet," answered Vince, "but that's Marty's problem, not yours. Your problem is catching up on your junior life-saving. Now jump in." Greg felt relieved. He did a racing dive into the shallow water and swam out onto the raft. Maybe the Badgers wouldn't win the Good Sportsmanship Award this year, he thought, but it didn't seem to matter anymore. Greg still didn't like to eat with so many people or to take showers with them either. But he did earn his junior life-saving badge. And most important, Greg found out that he could say no and still be a pretty good sport. He thought about coming back next summer to practice catching long fly balls in center field. All right, so that was the story called What If? And we learned a lot in there, and we talked about secrets and we talked about sticky situations. So now I want to do a little exercise with you, and I want to talk about secrets and surprises. Okay, so what do you think is the difference? What do you think a secret is? And then what do you think a surprise is? I'll give you a few seconds to think about that, and then I'll tell you. Okay, so a secret is when somebody tells you something and they say, "Hey, you can't tell anyone this," and it might be something that makes you feel uncomfortable or scared. Maybe it's something hurtful. Okay, it can be words, it can be actions, it can be someone doing something or saying something to you that they tell you to keep a secret. And then a surprise is something that we might not tell someone right away because we don't want to ruin the excitement for them. Okay, so like a surprise birthday party, we don't want to tell someone if we're throwing them a surprise birthday party because we want them to be shocked and surprised when they see it. And are we hurting anyone if we don't tell them about a surprise party right away? But would Greg be really hurt if he didn't tell someone about what Marty happened and kept that secret? Probably. He'd probably feel very upset. So I want to practice with you guys, and I am going to read you some scenarios, and I want you to tell me, is that a secret or is that a surprise? So remember, surprises are okay and secrets are not. So I'm going to read them, and I want you to tell me, okay? So let's start with the first one. So you see a group of students bullying another student, and they ask you not to tell the teacher. Do you think that is a secret, or do you think that is a surprise? Is that going to hurt someone if you don't say anything, or is that okay and it's just going to be exciting? And if you want to pause this video, if you're watching with an adult and you want to pause, go ahead and do that so you guys can talk about it. Okay, so this would be a secret, right? So that student who's getting bullied, they're probably going to get their feelings hurt if you don't tell a teacher what you saw, what happened. So that one would definitely be a secret. That one is not okay to keep. The next one says, you got your friend a new game for their birthday present, but you don't tell them what it is. Okay, so you got them this brand new game that maybe they've really been wanting, but their birthday isn't until next week. So you decide not to tell them what you got them for their birthday. Is that a secret or is that a surprise? And again, if you want to pause the video and talk about it, you can do that. Otherwise, I'll give you just a couple seconds and then I'll tell you. Right, so that one would be a surprise because you're not doing anything scary or uncomfortable. You just don't want to ruin the excitement for when they open that present and they see that it's a new game that they've been wanting, right? So no one's getting hurt in that situation. That one is a surprise. Let's keep going. This one says, your friend is telling you about a great book they just read, but they didn't want to tell you how it ends. What do you think? Is that a secret or a surprise? So maybe there is a really good ending to that book that you haven't read yet, but they don't tell you the ending. Are they keeping it a secret or are they keeping it a surprise for you? What do you think? Yeah, so that one would be a surprise too. So they're not telling you to be mean or to be hurtful. They're just telling you, or they're not telling you because they don't want to ruin the ending for you. They want it to be a surprise. So that one is okay. That one is a surprise. Great job. All right, we've got a couple more. So this one says, an adult does something to you that makes you feel uncomfortable, but then they ask you not to tell anyone. Do you think that is a secret or a surprise? So an adult does something that makes you feel very uncomfortable, and then they tell you, let's just keep this between us. Don't tell anyone. What do you think? Secret or surprise? Yeah, that one would be a secret. So that one sounds pretty similar to what happened with Greg and Marty, right? Marty did something that made Greg feel really uncomfortable, and he said not to tell anyone, but Greg knew better, and he knew that he shouldn't be keeping secrets. So he went and told someone because that could have been really hurtful. And remember, that made him really feel uncomfortable, just like this scenario said too, it made them feel uncomfortable. So that one is a secret and is not okay. We're almost done. We just have two more. All right, this one says, the class is planning a party for your teacher, and everyone agreed not to tell your teacher about it until she shows up. Okay, do you think that is a secret or is that a surprise? What do you think? Yeah, so that one would be a surprise, right? Because we talked about parties and birthday parties. So that's not hurting the teacher. You're not making them feel sad or uncomfortable. You are just surprising them with a party and making them feel excited about it. Okay, so that one is okay. That one is a surprise. Let's see if you can figure out this last one. This says, one of your friends hurt you and said you would get in trouble if you told. Is that a secret or is that a surprise? So maybe they said something really mean to you that hurt you, or maybe they hit you or something to hurt you, and they said, hey, you cannot tell anyone about this. Is that a secret or is that a surprise? What do you think? This is our last one. Yes, so that one is a secret, okay? Because you're already getting hurt, right? Remember we talked about secrets can be hurtful. So if we didn't tell anyone about what happened, they might still continue to be mean to us if we don't tell an adult and get some help from them. So that one is a secret and is not okay to keep. All right, so you guys did a great job with that activity. I'm really proud of you. So the activity or the craft that you guys can do after you finish this video is you are going to make a megaphone. All right, do you know what a megaphone is? Maybe you've seen them with people at sports games where they have a megaphone and they shout into it. So we are going to make our very own megaphones. All right, and you can color them any way you want to. And I colored mine and I put different sayings on there. So I said things like, my body, my choice, I decide, no more secrets, you can put my body belongs to me, different things like that. And you can decorate it any way you want to. And then you can practice with maybe some phrases that we've learned throughout the week of how to say no or what to do if someone's making you uncomfortable. So you can go around and practice with your megaphone, okay? So I hope you had a great time today and learning about secrets and surprises and sticky situations. And I will see you next time. Bye.